Let's go back to the Bush administration's, as they call it, the enhanced interrogation or the torture forms.
Certainly you don't want to use something that's described universally as torture. My sense of the enhanced interrogation techniques during the Bush administration is that in some cases they were effective, in some cases they weren't, to take a balanced perspective.
Exactly. I guess we'll skip to that question because it seems to be relevant on that subject. Because it seems that polling of U.S. citizens on the subject of enhanced interrogation versus torture vary greatly when taken before a terrorist attack and then taken after a terrorist attack, where people are concerned about their safety.
That makes perfect sense.
And exactly with the ISIS Tate beheadings. What would your comments on that, as far as what do you think the American people view the subject?
I think the American people, certainly, if you're in an environment where they feel there's a threat to themselves and their families, they might be less against even using torture. And if the further that threat goes in terms of distance, for example, in the aftermath of Al-Qaeda's terrorist attacks on September 11, 2001, in the immediate aftermath, there was a great deal of support for the administration, basically whatever it wanted to do, certainly going to Afghanistan, even going into Iraq. As the distance from the last terrorist attack increases, the public tends to be less supportive. The American public does not have a very long attention span. That's pretty clear, and I think that's the reason for it. I would also say that one of the problems, you need to take a balanced approach in any of these types of issues. I think one of the problems that the Obama administration has had is it's been so emphatic on closing Guantanamo Bay, really calling out the Bush administration for the enhanced interrogation techniques, and there's something to be said for that. It certainly was unpopular and really probably did put the United States in a bad position internationally in terms of public opinion in particular. The problem is the Obama administration essentially has gone in the opposite direction. The thing you do get when you capture members of terrorist organizations, which the Obama administration has basically just refused to do, their approach has been to use drone strikes to basically just kill them. You get no intelligence if you do that. I don't know that their human rights are being respected or they're being killed either. Any democracy is going to be driven by the opinions, perspectives of the population, at least to some extent, because whether a president or a congressman, congresswoman, senator, they want to get reelected the next time. So they're ultimately going to look and say, well, what does the public think of this? The extent to which the public is going to be willing to permit enhanced interrogation techniques, those types of approaches, is always going to be greater the closer you are to an attack that has just occurred. And the more time that elapses between that attack and anything similar, you're going to have probably a lesser degree of willingness in the public to condone those types of approaches.